Welcome back to Reading Java Code, Module 8. Guess what? We are in our 8th and final module of this series. I know you've had a blast thus far, but this is the grand finale. How to use the debugger. This will help us to debug those dreaded application type errors. Okay, here we go. We're going to use what we've been using all series long, the NetBeans Java Debugger. The debugger is used to find application type errors. Again, like I mentioned in our errors module, these are the errors that are introduced by developers and programmers. That's not a negative thing, but it does happen. Sometimes we may double type something, we may use a wrong variable, we may pass a wrong variable. That doesn't cause the application not to run, which is a runtime error, and it doesn't create a red line or error light bulb saying that the syntax is wrong. It does not catch these types of errors. Now, that is what's great about the debugger. The user can put breakpoints throughout their code, which allows them to see what the program is doing. What that means is you could put a breakpoint on different lines and the program will pause when running in debug mode, stop right at that breakpoint, and you can evaluate all the variables up to that point. You can see what the variables are, you can see what they aren't, you can see if they're being assigned correctly, and do they hold the correct values. The debugger will jump one line of code to another to show the progress and the process of which the program is following. So it's going to run as if it was running without the debugger, like it would run if you didn't have the debugger running, but it's going to pause so you can evaluate certain things. The user will have the ability to stop the debugger, jump forward, skip over, or run to cursor and several other useful navigational functions. What does that mean? You will set your breakpoints, but you will also have the ability to run to cursor, because you may see something once you hit a breakpoint and you just want to run 2 or 3 more lines just to see how that variable is going to react with that wrong value. So therefore you can see 2 lines later by running to cursor what happens. So I tell you what, here's an image of the debugger, what it is revealing, and actually that's the program we're going to use. I wrote that, and that is what we're going to use going forward for the debugger. So get ready for the NetBeans Java Debugger. We have the Java NetBeans Debugger up. Okay? This is what I did. I wrote a program, I created a project, wrote a program called Debugger Demo. Now we're going to use this demo program that I wrote to run the debugger. I purposely put an error in here so we can follow through and try to find it. Now, I'm going to tell you what this program is going to do. Like every other program, we have the public static void main one, which is required. Remember, we talked about that. This is required. This main method right here is required of every program. We talked about the scanner. We imported the scanner because we're going to take keyboard input. We're going to get the month with the method. We're going to get the days, and we're going to print the information. What this program is going to do, it's going to ask the user for the name of the month and the number of days. And once it does that, it's then going to loop through and print the month and their days. It's going to also check to see what months have 30 or less days, and it's going to tell us that. And it's going to total up all the days in the month to tell us how many days are in the year. Aren't you excited? Okay, here we go. So we're going to run the debugger. Now, a good place to put breakpoints is like on variable names, like here would be a good breakpoint. And I think I also want to put a breakpoint here. So we don't get to the print method till after we finish this. So we're going to have a breakpoint after this to see how everything else is going. This is going to basically tell us up here how the input is going. So you want to kind of put your breakpoints in logical places. That way you can see with separation what's going on with your input and what's going on with your output. And maybe if there was a calculation method, which I could have created, we could have put a breakpoint in there to see what's going on in there. So you want to strategically place your breakpoints. So as you can see, I placed one at 24 and one at 51. Now, how do we get the debugger to start? I'm glad you asked. Here we have project, debug project, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to debug the project. You can also debug a file, but in this case, I'm going to hit project because it's only one file in the project. So I click debug project. As you can see, the screen shifted. It tells us we're debugging. You see down here, we now have watches, variables, and we also have breakpoints. This is all good stuff. See, debugger demo is running in debug mode, and there's a debug console, which is down here. This is the standard system console that isn't going to change. Because I told you, the program is still going to run as you normally should. So let's get going. The first thing we need to do, because it's asking for the month, and the first month of the year is January. And then we're going to put in the number of days for January, which is 31. Now, if you notice, main is at a breakpoint. It tells us it's at a breakpoint, and it's line 24. You remember, we put a breakpoint on line 24, which means the debugger is working as intended. A green light will highlight this line, letting us know that we hit a breakpoint. Now, some useful information popped up. Variables, wow. Now we can see what the variables are doing. If we go through our code right here, this is going to iterate through a for loop, which we talked about, and it's going to assign the month that the user types in to name, the string variable name right here, and it's also going to assign from the method getDays, and it's also going to pass the name so we know what month to put the days for, and it's going to assign those days here. And once it does that, it's going to assign those things into an array. This is something new that I haven't talked about, but it's beyond the scope of this series. But this is how you create an array, which is also a variable, just like this is a variable, and this is a variable type array, okay? Just so you know, this is the array format. You put brackets, and you put the number of elements that are going to be in that array. Since we know it's 12 months, we create 12 arrays, or 12 spaces or elements for that array. And we do the same for days, but in this case, we want an integer array because the days are numbers, and we're going to use them like math, so we have to use integer. Otherwise, we could have put the days in as strings, but we wouldn't be able to compute on strings. So the names are strings, and the days of the month are integers, okay? So now let's go down here and look right here. Some useful information. We went through and put January's name and month in, and look at this variable has the string name, January, and it has a number of days, 31. Now, if you notice, here is our array, both of them. They are length 12 because they have 12 elements for 12 months. Now watch what I do. When I click name array, you see the 12 array spots. An array start at 0, just so you know, and it goes to 11, which still means 12. We have now got all these elements that are empty, but it did get assigned like it was supposed to. Name went into element 1, so therefore it's there. Now, if we click on the days array, we won't see it yet because we haven't passed that point yet. That's why it's still 0. Just so you know, see, we stopped there. Once we pass it, days will be assigned into position or element 0, and next time through, we will see this. So let's continue on. How do we do that? Like I said, you press F5. You also have these up here tell you what to do, but we're not going to use any of these. We're going to actually use F5 because I want to continue. So look what happened. We're in a for loop. If I go back down here, we'll close up days. Let's see what I is. I is 0. So now we can put in I is going to increment. So now we're going to put in February. And we're going to say February has 28 days. This is leap year, okay? And voila, it pauses again. And look at this. I is now 1 because we are now at element 1, okay? See, right here, it went through, and now that it went back to it's going to go back. It's now 1. And look at the new name and days that we have. It changed. So again, if we look at array name, now we have 2 strings. February made it in there. And like I promised, in array days, we will see the first month because we haven't passed for the second time. Look at that. Now, if we move this breakpoint below this, then we will see both dates. Okay? But let's keep going through. So, I'm going to continue. Now, I'm not going to continue talking until we get to the point where I think we need to have some dialogue. I'm going to continue because I want to get to the part that's the error. And it's 30. We're going to continue. And it's May. We're going to continue. And it's June. 30. We're going to continue. Keep following along. Keep following along. There will probably be a part 2 to this video because we are running out of time. See what? I'm going to pause here and I'm going to come back. Okay, what I did, I went ahead and entered the rest of those in. So now I'm going to click on array name and we're going to see all the names of the months in the array now. They're all full. You see there? And if we look at the days, the only one that's missing is December. But once we get past this point, we will see it. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and continue. Now, we're inside of another method. And what we want to look at is, what is the total? The total is 90. Because we went through, I guess, 3 months already. Because we're paused. So we have 1 month, that is, so we're going to continue. 452 days. Now, I think that's the problem. What do you think? There can't be 452 days in a month, so there must be an error somewhere. How do we find this error? Let's look. We looked at total, so let's find where total is. And voila, total is on line 47. And look at what we see here. There's total equal total plus ival, which is, ival is these numbers right here. And as you can see, the number is wrong. Something is wrong. What is wrong? I see what's wrong. The developer put an extra plus total on here. So it's totaling the total plus those values and throwing all the numbers off. We just found an error in the code. Isn't that amazing? That's what a debugger can do. So let's let it go through. It finished. And it told us, look at this. There are 123,000 days in a year. That can't be. Now, this is right there, 5 months with 30 days or less. So let me pause. I'm going to fix the error and come back, and we're going to do this again in real time, and we'll see what we get. Be back in 1 second. Okay, we're back live. Here we go. I entered all the months. Again, we're not running in debug mode. I made the change to the code right here that we found was a problem right here. It's been fixed now. Took all the points away. Scroll down, and voila, what do we have? 31 days, 30, 30, 28, 28. We now have, there are 365 days in a year with 5 months with less than 30 days. Look at that, people. We found an error using the debugger. There's no way we could have found this error otherwise. The debugger did its job. So, as you go out into your career and out into the world, be sure to use the debugger that comes with your IDE, your Java tool, whatever you choose to use, please use it. It's been a pleasure teaching you and sharing how to read Java code. Until next time, we will cover the answer sheet in the next video.